Vasseur is furious. What Ferrari just found in Hamilton's SF25 after his disastrous Q2 elimination in Brazil could change everything for the team. Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, was knocked out of Q2 for the second time in the same weekend. But the real bombshell? It wasn't his fault. What technical flaw did Ferrari engineers uncover inside Hamilton's car? Why did the SF25 fail to deliver when it mattered most in Interlagos? And now, as Mercedes pulls ahead in the constructors' battle, has Hamilton lost faith in Ferrari's vision for 2026? Lewis Hamilton arrived in Brazil with high hopes and a mission to salvage what had been a bruising debut season with Ferrari. After flashes of brilliance across 2025, the Interlagos circuit, where he's delivered some of his greatest career drives, was supposed to offer redemption. But qualifying told a very different story. For only the third time this year, Hamilton was eliminated in Q2, his SF25 lacking balance, grip, and above all answers. What made it worse wasn't just the elimination, but the confusion. Hamilton's feedback to the pit wall was clear: the rear of the car felt unstable, the traction zones were inconsistent, and the braking phase lacked bite. For a man who has made an art form out of extracting pace from difficult machinery, even he sounded bewildered. "It's not responding like it should," he told the engineers. That's not frustration, that's concern from a driver who knows exactly what a car is supposed to do. The paddock started to speculate, was this just another setup gamble gone wrong? But the truth was even more unsettling. According to Ferrari insiders, team principal Frédéric Vasseur ordered a full inspection of Hamilton's SF25 post-qualifying. What they discovered shocked even the technical department. A manufacturing irregularity in the rear suspension housing had gone unnoticed through earlier sessions. It created minor but crucial flex under load, disrupting the car's entire balance through the corners. The consequences were devastating in a field where tenths of a second separate heroes from heartbreak. The SF25's weight distribution was off by just enough to ruin Hamilton's confidence in high-speed entries, Interlagos' greatest test. While teammate Charles Leclerc managed to extract a marginally better lap, the fact is both Ferraris were behind expectation. But for Hamilton, that issue was invisible until it was too late to fix. It wasn't a lack of performance. It was a lack of equal machinery. Now the question is whether Ferrari can recover in time. With just 3 races remaining, they risk falling behind Mercedes in the constructors, and Hamilton knows what's at stake. Every session matters. Every point counts. And after what happened in Brazil, there's a growing concern inside Maranello. Did they give Lewis Hamilton a car that was fundamentally flawed on one of the most crucial weekends of the year? Despite the setback, Hamilton's composure remains unshaken. He didn't point fingers, didn't blame strategy or setup. He acknowledged the issue, thanked the team for their late-night inspection work, and focused immediately on Sunday. It's a champion's mindset, calm under pressure, hungry for redemption. But the facts are now undeniable. If Ferrari can't guarantee Hamilton a stable, predictable platform, 2025 could end without a win. And that's not a statistic the legend is ready to accept. The problem with Lewis Hamilton's SF25 in Brazil wasn't something visible to the eye or even obvious on the timing screens. It was subtle, silent, but destructive. After his Q2 exit, many assumed setup misjudgment or driver error. But the post-session analysis told another story. Ferrari's engineering team, under the directive of Frédéric Vasseur, uncovered a minor flex pattern in the rear suspension geometry, a component that under full compression shifted fractionally beyond tolerance. This kind of flaw doesn't show up immediately. It's not catastrophic, and the car passes all standard checks. But under race load, especially through fast corners like Interlagos turns 1 to 4, it creates unpredictable rotation. The rear end loses that critical sense of connection. And for a driver like Hamilton, who lives on edge feel and brake modulation, this undermines confidence instantly. His early Q2 laps were aborted not because of lack of commitment but because the car refused to cooperate. The telemetry confirmed what Hamilton felt. On corner entry, his brake traces showed earlier application but reduced stopping force. The car wasn't decelerating as predicted. Lateral load sensors showed inconsistent readings pointing to small but measurable shifts in chassis behavior. While Leclerc reported general understeer, Hamilton had a different complaint: instability. It became clear that the SF25 was behaving asymmetrically, and the fault lay not in the setup sheet but in a part built out of spec. Ferrari didn't spot it earlier for one critical reason: sprint weekend timing. With just one practice session, there was no long-run data and no time to double-check part tolerance mid-weekend. The same component had passed checks in the simulator and in Mexico. But Interlagos, with its aggressive curbs, exposed the vulnerability. By the time they discovered the issue, Q2 was over and Hamilton was already out. This wasn't just an isolated problem. It was a procedural gap, the kind that shouldn't happen in a championship-level team. For Hamilton, the damage wasn't only to his grid position. It was psychological. He had pushed all weekend to improve the balance, only to find the car was undermining him from within. Trust between driver and machine is everything. And in Brazil, that trust was broken not by performance, but by oversight. The Ferrari SF25 is built on a sharp-edge concept, narrower rear geometry, aggressive rake, and a stiffer suspension setup compared to its predecessor. That philosophy, while producing flashes of one-lap brilliance, also walks a fine line in terms of component stress. In Hamilton's case, the issue stemmed from the rear lower wishbone, specifically, a composite tolerance zone that under full vertical load shifted just enough to destabilize the platform. These are parts engineered to millimetric precision, but in Brazil, it only took microns of error to upset the equilibrium. This wasn't an experimental part. It was standard spec. But the sprint format meant it had to survive high load mileage without a second inspection. It didn't. The flex created asymmetric load transfer, meaning the rear right behaved slightly differently under braking and acceleration than the rear left. That split behavior is deadly for a driver like Hamilton, whose style depends on smooth weight transfer and sharp rear feedback. Yet even with this flaw, Hamilton almost saved it. His Q1 lap was clinical, and in Q2, he adjusted brake balance, corner entry speed, and steering angle lap by lap to keep the car underneath him. It wasn't about pace anymore, it was survival. His final Q2 lap was just over a tenth away from the cutoff, proof that even in an unpredictable car, Hamilton could extract something close to a representative time. That ability to adapt in real time is what separates legends from the grid. The engineering team watched the data in disbelief. Hamilton's corrections were fast but smooth. He managed throttle spikes with near-perfect precision, despite having to second-guess the rear grip at every corner exit. It was pure experience keeping the SF25 in control, but the underlying problem was mechanical, and no amount of talent could completely mask it. The final telemetry overlay showed exactly what the engineers feared. An unpredictable yaw moment entering turn 8 cost him the final tenth needed for Q3. And that raises the bigger question: how does Ferrari let a car with a known flaw roll into qualifying without detection? In a team hunting wins and building toward a championship future with Hamilton, this incident will force an internal review. It's not just a missed Q3. It's a blown opportunity to show they can deliver under pressure, and for Hamilton, every missed qualifying session represents a deeper test of trust. The aftermath of Hamilton's Q2 elimination wasn't quiet. Inside the Ferrari garage, engineers worked late into the night, not just inspecting the faulty rear suspension component, but dissecting why such a mistake made it to qualifying at all. Because this wasn't just a mechanical failure, it exposed a flaw in Ferrari's operational process during sprint weekends. It raised eyebrows. It triggered meetings. And more than anything, it rattled confidence at the exact moment the team needed clarity. For Hamilton, the consequences go beyond Saturday's result. He now faces a Sunday start from the midfield on a circuit notorious for turbulence, lockups, and early lap chaos. The Interlagos sprint layout means overtaking opportunities are limited unless the car is fully responsive, and he doesn't know yet if Ferrari's emergency fix will restore that missing stability. While the championship is no longer within reach, pride, podiums, and progress remain critical for Hamilton's long-term mission, building a winning Ferrari around himself by 2026. But this incident has also brought into sharp focus the performance gap that still exists between Ferrari and its rivals. Mercedes, with George Russell, continues to punch above expectations in race trim. McLaren, with Norris, is already showing signs of race-winning consistency. And Red Bull, despite Verstappen's recent setbacks, still operates with clinical precision. For Ferrari, these weekends were supposed to be proof of evolution. Instead, Brazil reminded everyone just how fragile that transformation still is. Internally, Vasseur has promised accountability. The faulty component will be retired. The inspection protocols are being restructured. But for Hamilton, words are no longer enough. What he needs now is assurance that every time he straps into that scarlet car, it is giving him the platform to fight, not falter. He did not leave Mercedes to drive at the edge of Q2 elimination. He left to build something worthy of his name. That project is under pressure now, and Interlagos may prove to be the turning point.